What is up guys, it's Jimbo here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at my ultimate Shadebinder build for the Warlock. I'm really excited to show it off, all of the different exotics that you should use with this subclass and also some of the weapon loadouts potentially, but without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It definitely helps out the channel more than you think, and the notification bell does give you an update when I post a new video. And also go to twitch.tv/itsjimbo, link is in the description, for gaming content outside, not just Destiny and specific videos. We talk a lot about games, we do playthroughs, and we have a lot of fun over there. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First of all, taking a look at the Shadebinder subclass. It is the new Stasis subclass, and if many of you don't know, the Warlock has access to 4 fragment slots in the subclass, which is more than the Titan and more than the Hunter. I haven't had time to play with those as much, so I have just played with the Warlock because Warlock is my main character. I enjoy playing Warlock, but these are the things that I would recommend when it comes to the strengths and weaknesses of the subclass. First and foremost, this class is not a boss clearing damage based class. It's not something that's going to help you in higher end activities, potentially if you need healing or if you need to do a lot of burst damage. The bottom tree Dawnblade with Dawn Chorus is pretty good right now. Chaos Reach is also very good at doing some pretty good boss DPS. I haven't used it in quite a while, and there's other options out there. And also Well of Radiance is hard to beat in high-end activities. The strengths of this class though are that in high-end activities it has the ability to shut down champions. It has the ability to crowd control, and if you can chain abilities and use the right mods together with it, it is a absolute monster. And the chaining effect that the Warlock gets every time you break a stasis crystal is insane. If you come up against a group of adds and you manage to freeze one of them, it's just going to keep chaining and keep chaining and keep chaining until it's frozen all of them, and then you can punch the stasis crystal or punch the frozen enemy, and it is going to be able to just continually destruct enemies that are in the close vicinity of each other. And especially in the higher end activities, it may not have the healing output or it may not have the utility output to help your teammates, but having someone on stasis is fantastic, especially on the Warlock, because you have 3 options available. You have your Rift that is able to freeze enemies, you have your Penumbral Blast, which is your melee, and you also have your grenade choices of 3 different types of grenades. My final thoughts on the actual subclass before we go into the build and also what I would use is that it's a very crowd control based class and it's super fun to play with. It is one of the funnest subclasses I have used in Destiny ever since I got hold of Devourer Warlock. This is just makes you feel powerful. It makes you feel like you are literally a icy stace dubstep wizard, that I call it, because when you pop the super, the sound's pretty cool as well. And yeah, it's just really plays into the fantasy of being a cosmic wizard. So taking a look at the Shadebinder subclass, we have the main abilities to start off with, which is a healing rift or an empowering rift, which I usually go with a healing rift. We also have burst glide, and then we have the Penumbral Blast. Now the grenade, you have 3 choices. You either have the Cold Snap grenade, you have the Duskfield grenade, or you have the Glacier grenade. Personally, I think that the Cold Snap grenade is better for specific activities, or just if you want to have a bit of fun in regular missions. But if you're going to be doing any high-end stuff, I do think that the Duskfield grenade, tied with the thermal or solar mod that is on the season pass currently, which gives you the ability to overload champions, it's fantastic. And also it's very good in the game to kind of clump a group of adds together if you're using a certain weapon to kind of keep them together, and ultimately destroy them. Then we have the aspects. So the aspects I've said before, the ice flare bolts, basically shattering a frozen target grants a small amount of grenade energy and spawns seekers that track and freeze other nearby targets. So as you'll be able to see on screen, when I freeze an enemy, it will track to another enemy and then track to another enemy, and it's really, really good for crowd control, especially if you freeze a group of people. It does have a limited range. It doesn't have that long of a range, but if you can get a group of ads, especially like a group of thralls or a group of fallen together, some dregs, it's really, really fantastic. Then we have Frost Pulse. Frost Pulse makes a rift, or the rift that you use, into like a mini like freeze bomb. Basically it will freeze a shockwave of enemies when you do it, which is fantastic. So it means that you get your freezing off a lot easier, and that combines really well with the fragments. So going with the fragments, I have Whisper of Fissures, Whisper of Durance, Whisper of Hedrons, and Whisper of Shards. Whisper of Fissures I think is one of the best in the game. It increases the size and burst of the stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. So this is fantastic. It means that the range is increased, and also it means that you are able to get a little bit more damage when you are doing it to a frozen target. Then we have Whisper of Hedrons, which I think is a must on all of the classes. You gain bonus to weapon damage after freezing a target with stasis. You take a -10 to your stats, but -10 to strength is a small price to pay for the massive payoff that you get when you freeze enemies. It lasts for around about 10 seconds when you use Whisper of Hedrons, which is fantastic, and I love to see I use it a lot in the high-end activities, i.e. the Lost Sectors, to be able to do more damage. You can do it on champions as well. This also then combines with the Dustfield Grenade when you are doing it to champions, and you're able to freeze them repeatedly. It is really, really good. Then we have Whisper of Durance. Slow from your abilities lasts longer. For those abilities that linger, their duration will also increase. So the slow ability that you get from your Dustfield Grenade is fantastic. It means that it will stay around for a lot longer, and you get a +10 strength attribute to it. So it means that combining it with the Hedrons that we just spoke about, it means that you're not really missing out on any of the stat boost or stat debuffs. It's kind of just a net equal. The last one that I have on is Whisper of Shards. Shattering a stasis crystal temporarily increases your grenade recharge rate, and you get +10 resilience. One that you could swap in is defeating slow targets or frozen targets grants your class ability energy, and that is for the Whisper of Refraction. Now, one thing to talk about, which I didn't mention earlier about Whisper of Fissures, is it has a secret perk on it, or a hidden perk that is really good. When you kill enemies that are frozen, you gain a chunk of your grenade energy back. It's not exactly 25%, but it's a very, very decent amount. And combining all of these different fragments, especially with Whisper of Fissures, with ones that allow you, combining all of these with perks such as Wellspring and also Demolitionist, it does mean that you're going to be able to have your abilities up pretty much all the time. When it comes to the armor stats that I have, I tend to run Recovery, Discipline, and Intellect, mainly because the grenade is one of the most important aspects on the Warlock. The super is also very good, and then Recovery is also good for getting your health back and also your class ability back. So, first of all, I'm going to go through the mods that I run on my armor, and I will be making a video which is going to be a Beyond Light, like new light build, where you have the mods that you can use that you can get from Banshee. All of these mods are eventually acquirable in the game, but I have specific ones that have come in previous seasons that you may not be able to get if you are watching this video. So on my helmet, and the exotics I'll go through a little bit later, the helmet I run is a Global Reach and an Intellect mod. I usually run this because Global Reach combined with my 7th Seraph SMG or the Achilles SMG is giving me the ability to make Warmind cells. Then we have the 7th Seraph gloves, or in this case it would be a solar pair of gloves, and I have the Fire Team Medic on with a discipline mod. The Fire Team Medic allows me to give myself health back when I have killed an enemy or when I have done damage. So destroying a Warmind cell creates a burst of healing for you and your allies nearby. This is fantastic if you are low on health and you have managed to create a Warmind cell. Then we have a Void piece of gear, which is going to have Warmind's protection on. Warmind's protection gives you the ability to take reduced damage from enemies that are near to Warmind cells. They will grow orange or so, and it means that you're able to take less damage. Combine that with it being able to pop it, which also gives you healing as well, is fantastic. And I also run a recovery mod on there to kind of make up the stats as well. Then on my boots and also on my bond, I run a combo which is very, very helpful, and that is Rage of the Warmind on my boots, which is a +5 energy in your boot slot, and additional solar damage is applied when you do Warmind cell destruction. So when you blow up a Warmind cell, it will use the solar ability energy to also create blow up shields, etc, etc. But combining that with Wrath of Rasputin, solar splash damage final blows have a chance to create Warmind cells. The reason these two mods are so awesome together is because when you kill a Warmind cell, or when you blow one up I should say, and it kills a multiple amount of enemies, that solar damage that is applied to them is essentially classed as splash damage, which then means another Warmind cell can be generated, and then you can blow that up, and you can keep chanting it over and over and over until you have killed all the adds, or you have done a significant amount of damage. Will it do an amazing amount of damage to bosses and stuff like that? No. The global reach effects and the Warmind cell effects tend to be more explosive, and I will be looking at other builds down the line, but this is like my ultimate Shadebinder build and what I would run. There is some charge with light stuff that you could do to make swords even better, but I really wanted to focus down on what my favorite is. For exotics in these slots, you could quite easily go with one of the best Warlock helmets in the game, and that is Verity's Brow. Verity's Brow is a helmet that you can acquire from a drop in the game, and what it does is killing weapons with energy weapons, i.e. your 7th Seraph weapons or your weapons that have an energy type on them, will grant death throws. Basically, that provides additional damage to your grenades, and it also gives you grenade energy back after you get kills with your 7th Seraph SMG. Combine that with the Shadebinder class and you have ultimate grenades. It's insane, and you're able to do more damage with them. And on top of that, when you throw a grenade and you are nearby your enemies are going to have greatly increased grenade regeneration for a period of time whilst death throws is active. It's a really fun build to go with, or exotic to have in your build I should say, and this is the one that I would go for. You could also go with Necrotic Grip. It's a new one from this season. Damaging combatants with melee, corrupts them with increasing damage over time, and then it spreads to other enemies. This is fantastic because the Penumbral Blast will give you a ranged melee. It freezes, it also does damage as well, and will connect to other enemies. Then finally, for the chest slot, there is Vesper of Radius. It has been disabled at the moment, but when you put down a rift, it releases a arc shockwave. Combine that with the aspect that we have on our Warlock, it means that you're going to be able to freeze and also blow up your enemies as well. And rift energy recharges faster when you are surrounded by enemies, so it's really awesome there. So moving into my loadout choices, I have 3 loadout choices that I usually go with, and I swap and change them with how I feel. The one that is constant is the 7th Seraph SMG in the energy slot is fantastic. It gives you the ability to create Warmind cells. Then we also have the heritage, which is the raid shotgun. I have auto loading and recombination. I use this for my yellow bar damage, and also just if I want to use a shotgun, but also having that auto loading means I can put it away and it'll reload itself. And then obviously I have the lament, which is awesome. Basically charging it up will give you increased damage when you do your swings. I absolutely love the lament as well. If I want to swap it up and I want to do something a bit different, I will run the new Deafening Whisper with Ambitious Assassin and Wellspring alongside the 7th Seraph Officer Revolver. I really enjoy using that as well. That is also able to create Warmind cells. And then I can run Xenophage, which Xenophage, when you kill an enemy, it counts as splash damage, and that splash damage is going to give you the ability to create Warmind cells. You can shoot a Warmind cell once with a Xenophage, and it will just explode, and then just keep chaining that stuff on. Other notable exotics that I wouldn't recommend in that heavy slot is the Eyes of Tomorrow, the Raid rocket launcher, and also Anarchy, which you can acquire from the exotic terminal in the tower. There is way more I could talk about this build, and way more different loadouts I could go through, but then the video would probably be around about 40 minutes long. The Shadebinder is probably one of my favorite subclasses that I've had to use in my time playing Destiny. The loadouts can be swapped and changes, the mods can be swapped and changes, and I'm going to keep making videos like this. I might try and make smaller ones, but this is going to be the ultimate guide to kind of start with, that I'll probably keep referring back to when we talk about stasis and different weapon loadouts. If you would like to see me just do a video on my weapon loadouts and my favorite ones and what I would recommend, please leave a comment down in the comment section if you've made it this far in the video. That would be much appreciated. And if you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and also go and check my Twitch out, twitch.tv/itsjimbo. I usually go live an hour after uploading during the week. We usually do about 3 to 5 streams. We do Destiny, we do loads of other different games, and we like to talk and have fun as a community. So I'd love to see you over there. Sorry this video has been quite long. I don't usually make my videos this long, but I want to thank you all if you've made it this far and supported me on this journey that we have that's been crazy throughout 2020. And this has been It's Jimbo, and I'll see you in the next one.